Shivaya.
Deep in the ancient forests of India, long before the age of cities and kingdoms, there lived a sage named Parnada. He was no ordinary man. Through years of relentless penance, meditating through scorching summers and bitter winters, denying himself food, water and comfort, Parnada had amassed a power so immense that the very forest bent to his will. The trees swayed at his command, the animals obeyed his word. Every living creature in that forest regarded him as their master. But power, when left unchecked, has a way of poisoning even the most disciplined mind. And Parnada, the sage who had once renounced the world, began to believe he had surpassed it entirely. "I am as powerful as Lord Shiva himself," he declared, a claim that echoed through the cosmos and reached the ears of the very god he dared to rival. Lord Shiva, seated in meditation on Mount Kailash, heard these words. And he did not respond with fury. He did not send a storm or a curse. Instead, he simply thought, "This sage must be reminded of what he truly is. I shall teach him." And so Shiva set a quiet trap, not of punishment, but of revelation. One day, as Parnada was chopping wood in the forest with his axe, the blade slipped. It cut deep into his middle finger. Parnada winced, but then froze. Because from the wound, instead of blood, a thick green liquid began to ooze. The sap of a tree, not blood, sap. Now, any humble man would have paused. He would have questioned what this meant. But Parnada was no longer humble. His mind raced to the conclusion his ego desperately wanted. "This is a miracle. My penance has transformed me. My body no longer carries human blood. It carries the essence of nature itself. I am not a mortal anymore. I am a celestial being. I belong in heaven, not on this earth." What Parnada did not realize was that this miracle was not a reward. It was a test, orchestrated by the very God he claimed to equal. Shortly after, an old man appeared on the forest path. His hair was white, his back was bent, and his steps were slow. He approached Parnada, who was still celebrating his supposed divinity, and asked with genuine curiosity, "You seem overjoyed, sage. What has made you so happy?" Parnada could barely contain himself. "I have attained divinity," he said, holding up his finger. "Look, my blood has turned to sap. I am no longer a mere mortal. My penance has elevated me beyond the human condition." The old man looked at the green liquid on Parnada's finger, and then he laughed. Not a polite chuckle, a full, unrestrained laugh that cut through the forest like thunder. "How foolish you are," the old man said, his voice suddenly carrying a weight that made the trees go still. "You bleed sap, and you think you are a god? Tell me, sage, what happens when you burn a tree? It turns to ash. What happens when you burn a plant? Ash. When you die, your body will be reduced to ashes. Even the flora and fauna of this forest, The very things that obey you will perish, just like you. All are equal in the end. Parnada's face twisted with anger. No one had spoken to him like this in years. "Do you think you know more than me?" he snapped. The old man did not flinch. "Give me your axe," he said calmly. "Let me demonstrate what I speak about." Parnada, fueled by arrogance and wanting to humiliate this stranger, handed over the axe. The old man took it, and without hesitation, he cut his own finger. Parnada watched, and what he saw shattered everything he believed about himself. From the old man's wound, there was no blood. There was no sap. There was ash, pure white ash. The realization hit Parnada like a wave. Sap was only one step removed from the living world. But ash is what remains after everything has been consumed. It is the final state, the irreducible truth. And here stood a being whose very body had transcended even the organic. "This can be none other than Lord Shiva," Parnada whispered, falling to his knees. The old man's form dissolved. In his place stood Lord Shiva, the great ascetic, the destroyer and transformer, adorned with serpents and matted locks, his trident gleaming. Parnada trembled. "Forgive me, my lord," the sage begged, pressing his forehead to the earth. Shiva's voice was calm, not angry, not vengeful, but carrying the quiet authority of a truth that cannot be argued with. "Parnada, I took this form only to remind you of the truth of life. Stick to the path of devotion to reach your goal of salvation." And then he vanished. From that day forward, Lord Shiva kept ash smeared across his entire body, a permanent reminder to all who follow him of the ultimate truth, that everything in this universe, no matter how powerful, no matter how beautiful, no matter how divine it may appear, will one day return to ash. This is the origin of Vibhuti, the sacred ash that Shiva devotees apply as 3 horizontal lines across their foreheads to this day. It is not decoration. It is not ritual for the sake of ritual. It is a philosophical statement worn on the skin, that the body is temporary, that ego is illusion, and that the only path forward is through devotion, not pride. Parnada's story is a warning that resonates across millennia. Partial achievement is the most dangerous place to stop, because you know just enough to be impressed with yourself, but not nearly enough to see how far you still have to go. The ash on Shiva's body says it plainly. No matter who you are, sage, king or god, the ending is the same. What matters is not the power you accumulate, but the humility with which you carry it. All are equal in the end. May Mahadev bless you. For more Shiva Kathas, like, share and subscribe.